In Lesson 1, we learned about the importance of financial institutions in an economy. You even got to fill out a bank account application to get your very own BizTown checking account. Today's lesson is all about checking accounts. The materials that you're going to need from your citizen guide are page 6, Endorsing Paychecks, page 7, Practicing Deposits, page 8, Check It Out, and page 9, Personal Checks. All right, everybody, let's get started. Do you know where your family's money comes from? A family's money typically comes from a paycheck. A paycheck is a check received for work completed at a job or a business. Income is the money people earn for their work. Can you think of a business you might like to work at someday to receive a paycheck? What career or job do you think you might enjoy to earn income? Let's pretend you were hired for your dream job in BizTown and you just received your first paycheck. For this activity, let's look at page 6 from your citizen guide entitled Endorsing Paychecks. Let's look at this paycheck together. You can see there's the front of your paycheck and there's also a picture of the back of your paycheck, but let's start with the front. You can see that this check is coming from the business J.A. BizTown News. It's dated January 5th of 2019. The amount of the paycheck is $8.33. And down at the bottom, it looks like the CFO of the business put in the memo portion of the check that this is a payroll check. And Scott Montgomery must be our CFO because he is the one that signed the check. A CFO is the Chief Financial Officer of a business, and they're responsible for all of the business's finance. And then right underneath that signature is the account number for the business. So that's the account number for J.A. BizTown News. Now, if you look below where we were just looking, you can see the back of your check. And on the left, it says endorse here. Endorsing a check is basically signing the back of your check to identify the check as your own. So when we pause this video for you to answer the questions at the bottom of this worksheet, I'd also like you to do two things. I'd like you to go back to the front of your check and go ahead and write your first and last name where it says pay to the order of, because this is your paycheck. And then I'd like you to go to the back of the check and where it says endorse here, I'd like you to write your first and last name in cursive. So go ahead and pause this video and you can finish up your worksheet. Fantastic work. Now we are ready to do a transaction at the bank. And a transaction is every time someone does business at a bank. It's a term that means an agreement or exchange. So our next activity is going to be practicing depositing a paycheck into your checking account. For this activity, practicing deposits, you will need page 7 from your citizen guide. In order to deposit your paycheck into your checking account at the bank, you're going to need to fill out a deposit ticket or a deposit slip. This is a written record of money put into a checking account. And you can find deposit tickets in the back of your checkbook, and they're also available at the bank. We're going to be going through this deposit ticket together, and then I'll have you work on your practicing deposits worksheet after that. Let's take a look at this deposit ticket that Jennifer Smith is going to be using to put her paycheck into the bank. You notice at the very top of the deposit slip, it shows her name, Jennifer Smith. It's also important to place the date that you're making the deposit on your deposit ticket. The date on this deposit ticket is April 17th, 2019. Now, if we looked at Jennifer Smith's paycheck, we would see that her check is made out for $8.50. So on the right-hand side of the deposit ticket, where it says list checks singly, you'll want to write out $8.50 as it's shown on the right. Now, moving down the deposit ticket, you can see where it says subtotal, $8.50. That's showing that there's just one check that's being deposited right now. If there were more checks listed above, we would add that amount up and put that into the subtotal. But right now, we're depositing $8.50. Now, right underneath where it says subtotal, it also says less cash received. Less cash received means when you deposit a check at the bank, you can also ask for some cash back at the same time. And this is showing me that Jennifer Smith would like $1.50 in cash taken out of her check, with the remaining amount of money going into her checking account. Now let's take a look where it says net deposit. The net deposit is the amount of money placed into an account after all deductions, such as cash back, are made. So the amount of money that Jennifer Smith is putting into her checking account right now is $7. Because her check was $8.50, she subtracted $1.50 in cash out and wants to put the remaining $7 into her checking account. In order for the bank to know what account to place the deposited money in, they need to know your checking account number. So Jennifer Smith's checking account number is 234. The last item on the deposit ticket we'll talk about is Jennifer Smith's signature at the bottom of the deposit ticket. She signed her name because she's asking for cash back. If you aren't asking for cash back, you do not need to sign your deposit ticket. Now, let's pretend that we just deposited Jennifer Smith's paycheck into her bank account. The next thing we need to do is record that transaction in her transaction register. And a transaction register is a booklet for recording money put into or removed from an account. Your transaction register is going to be found in the front of your checkbook. So let's take a look at this transaction register on your screen. So this is telling me that Jennifer Smith had a balance of $10 currently in her account. Now, when you make a deposit, you want to go to the next white strip of paper in your transaction register, and you'll need to put the date in. So the date of this deposit was April 17th. Then where it says transaction description, you'll want to write deposit. Now with deposits, you need to find the column that says deposit, and there's a plus sign right underneath of it. That means we're adding money into the account. So find the deposit column, and you would write $7 because that's the amount of money that she's placing into her account. And then on the next column over, right under that balance, you're going to put plus 7. That means we're adding $7 to that $10 that's already in the account. 10 plus 7 is 17. So place the current balance of 17 on the gray area on the column to the right. This is called double entry accounting, or the two-line method. This is a really great way for you to be able to do math continually throughout your transaction register. Let's go ahead and pause this video so that you can fill out your practicing deposit worksheet found on page 7 of your Citizen Guide. Great job practicing your deposits and practicing how to fill out a transaction register. We're going to move on, and we're going to talk about a checkbook. Inside of your checkbook, there are 3 different items. In the front of your checkbook, you're going to find a transaction register, and again, that's a booklet for recording money put into or deposited or removed, withdrawn from an account. Then in the middle section of your checkbook, you're going to find personal checks. These are checks written from a personal checking account. So this is different from a paycheck. A paycheck is something that the company you work for gives you as earned money for doing your job. A personal check is something that you would write to a company if you'd like to purchase something from them. And then in the back is where you're going to find your deposit tickets, which we just talked a lot about. So we are going to move on to activity number 3, and we are going to practice writing out some of those personal checks. So for activity 3, we are going to need page 9 in your citizen guide, the worksheet that says personal checks. And with this activity, you are going to be answering 9 questions about the personal check that's written at the top of your worksheet. And this is looking like Carly Smith wants to go to Fantastic Cards to purchase a birthday card. So I'm going to have you go ahead and pause this video and answer the first the first 8 questions. And then when you come back, we are going to fill out the transaction register together. All right, everybody, let's take a look at the transaction register for Carly Smith since she made her purchase at Fantastic Cards to get a birthday card. So if you look at the transaction register, you can see that Carly Smith, when she started her register, had a balance of $10 in her account. But she did go to Fantastic Cards and she spent $3.25. So we need to subtract that amount out of her transaction register. So look at the column on the left. It says number. That number is asking what the check number was that she used in case she needs to ever reference this with the bank. And so if you look up top at her personal check that she wrote, it was 1563. So she went ahead and filled that in on the first white line of her transaction register. Again, it's important to put the date. So March 26th is the date. And then where it says transaction description, typically that's where you write the name of the company where you spent the money. So Fantastic Cards. Now, there is a column that says payment, and there's a subtraction, a minus sign underneath that. Anytime you spend money and need to take money out of your account, you need to write the amount that you spent in that column. So she spent $3.25. Then moving along to the right, under the balance column, we need to subtract that $3.25 out. So you'd go ahead and put subtract $3.25 and do the math. $10 minus $3.25 is $6.75. $6.75 is the remaining amount of money that is in her account. Very good, everybody. We are going to move on. There's just a few more things that we need to talk about before we wrap up this lesson. The first one is electronic payment. So this is when money electronically is deducted from your bank account and transferred to another person or business. A lot of times your grown-up will probably be paying their bills electronically using their computer. Direct deposit is an electronic transfer of money from one account to another, and oftentimes this is used by employers to pay employees. So it's now kind of the norm to get paid through a direct deposit, which means the CFO of the company is going to use their computer and electronically send a paycheck into a bank account instead of giving you a paper paycheck. And this is really important. The reason that we keep track of our money using the transaction register is we never want to have a bounce check. A bounce check is a check written for more than the amount of money in a checking account, and banks do not like it. Banks will usually charge the customer a really high fee when this occurs. So you want to make sure before you ever write a check or transfer money electronically, you know exactly how much money you have in your account. All right, we are heading into our thumbs up and thumbs down review. Here we go. All right, give me a thumbs up if this statement is true and a thumbs down if this statement is false. Writing a check is one way people withdraw money from a checking account. Thumbs up or thumbs down. You must always sign a deposit ticket. Thumbs up or thumbs down. If there's not enough money in the account, the bank covers the check for the account holder. Thumbs up or thumbs down. All transactions should be recorded in the transaction register. Thumbs up or thumbs down. A paycheck and a personal check are the same thing. Amazing job, everybody, on this lesson. I know that that was a ton of information and you did such a good job. So if you want to check your work following this slide, there will be answer keys that will be shown. And just so you know what to look forward to next time, we are going to be talking about saving money and opening a savings account at the bank.